Imagine you're standing in the center of a large crowd. You lay back and aim your arrow straight up into the sky. You know what could happen. You could die. You pull the arrow back until you feel the bow bending past endurance. Maybe you hesitate, but it doesn't matter now. You let go.
My name is Rebecca Francis, and I have just set the scene of the piece of art we will be looking at today. I attend the University of Arkansas, and as I walk to class, I pass a sculpture that catches my eye every day. Standing about 8 feet tall on the lawn beside the Peace Fountain is Courage to Lead, a sculpture by Denny Haskew.
Brief background. Haskew created Courage to Lead in 1993. Believe it or not, before realizing his passion for art, he served in the Army and worked as a ski instructor. Then, at 38, Haskew began an apprenticeship for sculpting. He has created several works like this one, all human figures, all bronze, and all possessing a mesmerizing strength of emotion that draws people in and captures their attention. The composition of this work is fascinating. Sculpted from bronze and sitting atop an asymmetrical sandstone platform, the Native Americans on the right and left appear at first glance to be an exact mirror of each other. However, if looked at closer, it is merely an illusion of symmetry. This is interesting because it is not inherently obvious that it is an asymmetrical sculpture. Haskew used a variety of different lines to enhance his subjects. The curved spines, angular elbows, and 6 straight arms and arrows provide both sharp nature of what the sculpture represents and the inescapable softness that can only be found within human emotion. As is common when depicting human subjects, Haskew implemented many different irregular and regular shapes. Ovals for the shoulder muscles, elongated triangles for the headdress feathers, all of them closed to represent the determinedness of mind as they gamble their lives under the arrows. Haskew's form falls somewhere between naturalistic and idealized. Clearly he intended for his subjects to seem as real as possible, conveying their emotions like living beings. However, all three are, for lack of a better word, sculpted. There seems to be no flaw in their bodies, unlike real-life humans, which leads me to believe that he wished them not only to be realistic, but superficially attractive as well. These elements work with one another harmoniously to yield the striking final product. I believe our sculpture follows the methodology of psychoanalysis. Our textbook refers to this methodology, stating, "Like art history, psychoanalysis deals with imagery, history, and creativity. It reconstructs the past and interprets the relevance of the past to the present." Haskew has taken the age-old virtue of courage and translated it into a new form that speaks to its cultural audience, us. So where in history do our Native Americans belong? They were molded in the 1990s, but that is likely not when they lived. Contemporary art and artists often reflect other eras, such as the Renaissance and classical Greece. In our sculpture's case, the era Haskew has mimicked is the late 18th and early 19th centuries, Romanticism. Examples of works from this time include Theodore Géricault's Raft of the Medusa and François Rude's Departure of the Volunteers, a picture that depicts a group of volunteers being swept up and frenzied into battle for France. Again, like our Native Americans, they are caught up in the idea that death is for a good cause. I maintain that Courage to Lead is a romantic contemporary work, gazing back with respect on the days when being a hero was the ultimate goal, no matter the cost. This sculpture caught my eye many times before I stopped to take a closer look. I circled the huge mass of bronze, trying to see every detail, and almost tripped over the stone in front that holds the description. It states, "To symbolize courage and belief in spiritual protection, these Native Americans shoot arrows straight into the sky and remain still as the shafts fall back to earth." That struck me. I had to get to class, but I didn't think about psychology at all that hour.
I am a Christian. I believe that someone died so I can live eternally. And perhaps it's cheesy, but I couldn't help but see Jesus in those Native Americans.
And that kind of bravery, that kind of selflessness, is inspiring and convicting and exciting and deafening all at the same time.
I still pass this sculpture on my way to class every day. It reminds me of the ultimate sacrifice that was made for me. It reminds me that I can leave my life in Jesus' hands. And it reminds me to be brave, to have courage, and not just the courage to follow the Lord every day, but the courage to lead others to Him as well. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Art You Can See in a Day.